Listen carefully, my beloved soul. What you are about to hear is not a comforting story meant to pass time. This is a divine announcement. This is a spiritual interruption. This is heaven stepping into your night with authority. God says your season of loneliness ends tonight. Not slowly, not eventually, not someday when things align on their own. Tonight. And the reason your heart feels unsettled right now is because something has already begun moving towards you. You were not forgotten in the silence. You were being preserved. Every night you sat alone questioning your worth. Every time you wondered why love felt distant. Every moment you felt invisible. Heaven was watching quietly. And now God speaks because the decision has already been made. Loneliness was never meant to be your identity. It was a season. And seasons change when God commands them to end. My beloved soul, this loneliness was not punishment. It was preparation. You were being separated from noise so you could hear truth. You were being emptied of false connections so you could recognize the real one. You were being protected from attachments that would have drained you instead of honoring you. God allowed distance so discernment could grow. And now, discernment has matured. That is why this ending does not come with chaos. It comes with certainty. Tonight carries alignment. Tonight carries movement. Tonight carries a knock you did not expect, but heaven has already approved. There is an unexpected visitor coming to your door. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is not emotional imagination. This is orchestration. God does not send visitors without intention. Whoever is being moved towards you has already been stirred in their spirit. They have been restless. They have been thinking of you without knowing why. They have felt the urge to reach out, to show up, to speak. Even if fear tried to delay them, God removed the delay. God silenced the hesitation. God released the order. And when God releases an order, obedience follows, whether immediately or gradually. But tonight marks the shift. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment. Something eternal is unfolding in what looks ordinary. This visitor may not arrive the way you scripted. It may not look dramatic. It may not announce itself loudly, but the peace it carries will be unmistakable. You will feel calm instead of anxious, seen instead of questioned, safe instead of guarded. This is how you will know it is from God. Divine connections do not come with confusion. They come with clarity. You have carried loneliness quietly. You learned how to smile while feeling empty. You mastered strength when you wanted support. You became independent because you had no choice. But God says, independence was never meant to replace companionship. It was meant to refine you so you would never settle out of fear again. And now that fear no longer controls you, heaven releases what fear once blocked. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. Because this moment is not just about someone arriving. It is about something leaving. Loneliness is being dismissed. Its assignment is complete. Its access to your nights is revoked. The empty silence that echoed in your room is being replaced with presence. And presence heals things words never could. My beloved soul, hear this carefully. You were not alone because you were unworthy. You were alone because God was guarding your heart. You were not overlooked. You were being hidden. You were not delayed. You were being aligned. And alignment always looks like waiting until suddenly it looks like arrival. Tonight is the suddenly. This visitor carries restoration. They carry conversation that flows without effort. They carry understanding that does not require explanation. They carry respect for your boundaries and curiosity for your depth. God is not sending someone to complete you. He is sending someone who recognizes you are already whole. That is why this timing matters. Anything earlier would have disrupted your growth. Anything later would have tested your patience unnecessarily. Heaven does not miss timing. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal. Because this connection is not only emotional, it is spiritual. God aligns people who pray similarly, who value peace, who respect process. This is why superficial connections could not stay. They were incompatible with where you were going. And even when loneliness felt heavy, it kept you from attachments that would have cost you more than solitude ever did. Tonight, something shifts in the unseen. Something moves in the background. Something rearranges in ways you cannot yet see, but will soon feel. And when it happens, you will realize that the waiting refined you, the silence strengthened you, the loneliness clarified you. You will not cling. You will not chase. You will simply receive. If this word is resonating deep in your spirit, do not ignore it. Agreement accelerates alignment. Right now, type "I receive" as an act of faith, not for validation, but for activation. And if you know someone who has been carrying silent loneliness, share this message with them. God often uses shared words to unlock individual breakthroughs. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Because tonight is marked. Tonight is different. Tonight does not end the way your previous nights did. The door that stayed closed is about to be used. The silence that overstayed is about to leave. And when loneliness exits, it does not argue, it obeys. God says, your season of loneliness ends tonight, and heaven never lies. The moment loneliness begins to loosen its grip, my beloved soul, the mind often tries to question what the spirit already knows. That is why God speaks again, not because he doubts you, but because he understands the weight you carried in silence. Tonight is not only about an ending. It is about a recalibration. When a season leaves, it leaves space behind, and God never leaves space empty. He fills it with intention. This is why your emotions may feel layered right now. Relief mixed with caution, hope mixed with disbelief. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are human, standing at the edge of answered prayer. Loneliness stayed long enough to teach you how to hear God when no one else spoke. Now it must leave, because its purpose has been fulfilled. My beloved soul, the unexpected visitor is not just approaching your door. They are approaching your life assignment. God aligns people who can walk with you, not distract you. This is not about filling time. This is about honoring destiny. Whoever is coming has been shaped by their own waiting. They know silence. They understand restraint. They carry lessons that match yours. That is why the connection will feel familiar, even if the person is new. Heaven often uses recognition instead of history to confirm alignment. You must understand this clearly. God does not end loneliness by sending noise. He ends it by sending resonance. This visitor will not overwhelm your space. They will respect it. They will not rush your trust. They will value it. They will not demand explanations for your boundaries. They will honor them. And that is how you will know this moment is divinely arranged. Chaos never carries peace. Alignment always does. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment. What you are sensing right now is the dismantling of old defenses. You learned how to survive alone. You learned how to self-soothe. You learned how to be your own support. Those skills did not disappear tonight. They matured. Now they allow you to choose connection instead of needing it. That difference changes everything. God waited until you could stand whole before allowing someone to stand beside you. Loneliness taught you discernment. It taught you to notice energy, tone, intention. It taught you the difference between attention and presence. That is why shallow interactions no longer satisfy you. Your spirit requires depth. Now depth recognizes depth. The visitor coming toward you carries that same requirement. They are not curious about your surface. They are drawn to your core. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. Because this alignment is not fragile, it is protected. God guards what he sends. He shields what he releases. You are not stepping into something you have to maintain by force. You are stepping into something sustained by grace. That is why you feel calm instead of anxious, anticipation instead of fear, peace instead of urgency. My beloved soul, loneliness often convinces people that they are invisible. But God says you were never unseen. You were being refined out of sight. Some processes cannot happen in public. Some strengthening requires quiet. Some healing needs isolation. And now that healing has taken root, God allows visibility again, not for validation, but for connection. This visitor may arrive through a simple interaction, a message, a conversation, a moment that feels ordinary, but lingers unusually long. Do not dismiss subtlety. God often hides miracles in simplicity, so pride does not interfere. The power is not in the presentation. It is in the timing, and the timing is exact. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal, because this season shift is also about identity. You are no longer someone waiting to be chosen. You are someone prepared to receive. That internal shift changes how people approach you. They will sense confidence without arrogance, stability without hardness, openness without desperation. That balance is rare. That balance is attractive. That balance is intentional. Loneliness once taught you how to listen to your own thoughts. Now connection will teach you how to share them without fear. You will not shrink to be understood. You will not perform to be accepted. You will simply be, and that will be enough. This visitor does not come to distract you from God. They come aligned with God's purpose in you. They will not compete with your peace. They will contribute to it. They will not pull you backward. They will walk forward with you. And if you feel the urge to protect yourself prematurely, pause. Discernment is not fear. Trust the difference. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Because this ending of loneliness is also the beginning of shared purpose. God joins people not just for comfort, but for calling. You were never meant to walk alone forever. You were meant to walk prepared. Tonight confirms that preparation is complete. As this alignment settles deeper, my beloved soul, God wants you to understand that what is unfolding is not rushed, even though it is immediate. Heaven moves with precision, not panic. The loneliness that once echoed in your thoughts tried to convince you that time was against you, but God says time was working for you. Every delay adjusted your discernment. Every quiet night sharpened your spirit. And now that sharpening allows you to recognize what is real without forcing it to prove itself. This is why the shift feels calm instead of dramatic. This is why the anticipation feels grounded instead of chaotic. What is coming does not need to announce itself loudly because it already belongs. When something is divinely aligned, it does not struggle for access. It is welcomed naturally. My beloved soul, you must hear this with clarity. Loneliness did not leave you empty. It left you spacious. Spacious enough to host peace. Spacious enough to hold conversation without fear. Spacious enough to allow someone near without losing yourself. God does not remove seasons unless something greater can fit in the space they leave behind. That is why this transition feels unfamiliar, but not uncomfortable. Your spirit recognizes growth, even when your mind is still catching up. You are not stepping into vulnerability without covering. You are stepping into connection with wisdom. This unexpected visitor is not coming to test your wounds. They are coming to honor your healing. God never sends people to reopen what He has already closed. That chapter is sealed. The tears you cried in secret have already been answered in public order. Even if the manifestation feels private, heaven does not always respond loudly. Sometimes it responds accurately. This is accuracy. This is alignment. This is restoration without chaos. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment. You are standing at a hinge point. A hinge does not move loudly, but it changes direction entirely. Your life is not being flipped upside down. It is being turned toward companionship without compromise, toward intimacy without anxiety, toward presence without performance. That is why you feel steady. That steadiness is the evidence. Loneliness once trained you to self-protect. Now God retrains you to self-trust. You no longer need to interrogate every intention. You no longer need to assume abandonment before arrival. You no longer need to brace for disappointment. God has already filtered what could not sustain you. What remains is what can walk with you without draining you. That filtering took time. That is why the waiting was long. But waiting does not mean wasted. It means guarded. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. Because this season also restores your belief in timing. You are learning that God does not rush beauty. He reveals it when it can be received without fear. This visitor arrives when your heart can stay open without bleeding. That is maturity. That is readiness. That is divine order. My beloved soul, notice how your reactions are changing. You are less reactive, more observant, less desperate, more discerning. Loneliness once screamed at you. Now silence speaks peace. That transformation did not happen accidentally. It happened intentionally. God was building stability within you so that connection would feel safe instead of overwhelming. Safe connections feel calm, not consuming. This is how you will know you are in the right season. The visitor coming toward you may not yet understand why they feel drawn, but heaven understands. God often moves people before they have language for the movement. Obedience sometimes precedes explanation. Trust that God is working on both sides of the door. You are not the only one being prepared. Alignment is mutual. Preparation is shared. Timing is synchronized. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal, because this moment also rewrites your narrative. You were never the one who was left behind. You were the one being preserved ahead of time. Others rushed into connections that cost them peace. You waited and gained clarity. Others ignored red flags. You learned discernment. Others settled to avoid loneliness. You learned how to stand whole. That wholeness now attracts what can match it. Loneliness once made you question your value. This season confirms it. You are not receiving leftovers. You are not accepting convenience. You are stepping into intentional presence. God does not reward endurance with half measures. He responds with fullness. This visitor will not rush your process. They will respect it. They will not pressure your pace. They will honor it. They will not compete with your purpose. They will support it. That is alignment. That is confirmation. That is peace, speaking louder than fear ever did. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Because this transition is not temporary. It is foundational. God is not giving you a moment to enjoy. He is giving you a season to build from. Loneliness is ending not because you are weak, but because you are ready. And readiness always invites arrival. As this movement continues to unfold, my beloved soul, God wants you to recognize that what is happening now is not fragile. It is not something that can be easily shaken or reversed. Loneliness did not end because conditions improved. It ended because heaven issued a final decision. There is a difference. Conditions change all the time, but divine decisions establish permanence. What God closes does not reopen, and what God ends does not return disguised. This is why you may feel a strange finality inside, as if a door behind you has quietly sealed itself without noise or drama. That is not loss, that is completion. You must understand that loneliness often convinces people they are lacking something. But God says the truth is the opposite. You are being built, not depleted. You are being strengthened, not diminished. You were being rooted so deeply that when connection arrived, it would not uproot you from yourself. This season, shift is not about adding someone to fill a void. It is about allowing someone into a life that is already stable. Stability attracts stability. Wholeness attracts wholeness. That is why this visitor comes now and not before. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment. There is something sacred about recognizing when a chapter has truly ended. Many people carry loneliness to new connections because they never allowed it to finish its work. You allowed it to finish. You did not numb yourself. You did not distract yourself. You sat with the silence until it taught you truth. That is why you are not entering this new alignment with fear. You are entering it with awareness. Awareness protects what emotions alone cannot. This unexpected visitor is not arriving to rescue you from yourself. They are arriving to walk beside you as yourself. God does not send saviors disguised as partners. He sends companions aligned with purpose. That is why this presence will feel grounding, not overwhelming. It will feel supportive, not consuming. It will feel mutual, not one-sided. Mutuality is one of heaven's signatures. Loneliness once amplified your thoughts. Now connection will soften them, not by silencing your mind, but by sharing space with it. There is healing in being understood without explanation. There is restoration in being seen without performance. God knows how much energy you spent trying to appear strong. That performance is no longer required. Strength has become natural for you now. You no longer need to prove resilience. You embody it. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. Because this season is also about relearning trust. Not blind trust, wise trust. Trust that comes from discernment, not desperation. You are not opening your heart recklessly. You are opening it intentionally. That intention sets boundaries without walls. It allows closeness without fear. That balance is rare, and it is protected by God Himself. My beloved soul, notice how your inner dialogue has shifted. You no longer ask, "Why am I alone?" You ask, "What is being prepared?" That question shift marks maturity. That maturity is what allows heaven to release companionship without risk. God does not introduce people into your life until your inner world can sustain the connection without losing peace. Peace is the currency of this season. Anything that threatens it will not last. The visitor approaching your door is not coming with confusion. They are coming with clarity. Even if their words are simple, clarity does not always sound profound. Sometimes it sounds honest. Sometimes it sounds calm. Sometimes it sounds steady. Do not underestimate steady energy. Steady energy builds lives. Dramatic energy only excites moments. God is not interested in moments for you anymore. He is interested in continuity. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal because this alignment also restores your faith in yourself. Loneliness sometimes convinces people that they are hard to love. But God says you were never hard to love. You were just too deep for shallow hands. Now depth meets depth. Capacity meets capacity. Readiness meets readiness. You will notice that you no longer feel the need to rush outcomes. Patience has replaced anxiety. Presence has replaced anticipation. That is the evidence that loneliness has truly ended. When loneliness leaves, urgency leaves with it. You no longer need to hurry love. You can allow it to unfold. God unfolds what He authors. This visitor will not arrive to disrupt your routine. They will integrate into it. They will not demand your attention at the cost of your peace. They will respect your rhythm. They will not compete with your calling. They will honor it. That honor will feel like relief, not pressure. That relief is confirmation. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Because this season is not about learning how to be with someone. It is about learning how to remain yourself while being with someone. Loneliness prepared you for that, and now that preparation meets purpose. The waiting has ended. The alignment has begun. As this final movement settles into place, my beloved soul, God wants you to understand that this ending is not emotional closure alone. It is spiritual resolution. Loneliness is not simply leaving your surroundings. It is being removed from your identity. You are no longer defined by waiting, by silence, by empty spaces. You are now defined by readiness, by peace, by alignment. Heaven does not announce endings loudly. It confirms them quietly through stability. That is why your heart feels settled instead of restless. That is why your thoughts feel clear instead of crowded. This is not excitement fading. This is peace arriving. You have reached the point where loneliness can no longer speak to you with authority. It no longer has evidence to argue its case. The nights it once ruled have been marked for release. The questions it once raised have been answered without words. God does not always respond with explanations. Sometimes he responds with presence. That presence is now with you, and presence changes everything without effort. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment. You are standing in the aftermath of transformation. You survived isolation without becoming bitter. You endured silence without losing faith. You waited without compromising your values. That combination is rare. That combination is protected. Heaven honors endurance that does not harden the heart. And now heaven responds by removing what no longer serves you. The unexpected visitor that was spoken of is not just a person. It is also a season of shared life. It is laughter returning without guilt. It is conversation flowing without exhaustion. It is rest coming without effort. God knows how long you carried yourself alone. He knows how many times you were strong because you had no alternative. Strength kept you alive. Connection will now allow you to live. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. Because this final word seals what has already begun. You are not entering a fragile phase. You are entering a sustained one. What God introduces now has roots. It does not depend on constant reassurance. It grows naturally. That growth will feel slow but steady, quiet but consistent. That is how lasting things move. My beloved soul, loneliness taught you how to sit with yourself. Now connection will teach you how to share yourself without losing grounding. You will notice that you no longer overthink responses. You no longer rehearse words. You no longer question whether you are too much or not enough. That internal debate has ended. Acceptance has replaced it. Acceptance always feels calm. This season also restores your trust in God's timing. You no longer feel late. You no longer feel behind. You understand now that nothing was missed. Everything was protected. God never withholds without reason. He never delays without intention. And he never ends a season without already preparing the next one. That preparation is complete. My beloved soul, do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal. Because this ending also brings authority. Authority over your emotions. Authority over your choices. Authority over your peace. You are no longer at the mercy of loneliness or longing. You are grounded. Grounded people choose well. Grounded people attract well. Grounded people build what lasts. The presence entering your life will not ask you to abandon yourself. It will encourage you to remain whole. It will not require you to shrink. It will invite you to expand naturally. That invitation will feel safe. Safety is heaven's language. Fear is never how God confirms his will. You may look back one day and realize that the nights you thought were empty were actually shaping you. They taught you patience. They taught you self-respect. They taught you to value depth over distraction. Those lessons now become blessings. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was ignored. Everything was accounted for. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Here is that word. Loneliness does not get to follow you into what God is building next. It does not get a seat at the table. It does not get a voice in your decisions. It does not get access to your nights anymore. God has reassigned your season. Tonight marks the close, not with noise, not with drama, but with peace. And peace is the loudest confirmation heaven gives. This is the end of loneliness. This is the beginning of shared life. This is alignment. This is timing. This is God keeping his word. Type Amen.